And
All right, hello, gentle viewers. We have a very special episode of Mazecast tonight. This is episode 13 or whatever, probably or like 54 at this point. And we're gonna be tackling room 13, but we're gonna be doing it with a very special guest, a first timer. We've got SP known as Alex. We've got Vince known as Vince, and we've got a new friend called Sarah, otherwise known as Aria from the Abyss. And we've got myself, Beals, known as Andrew. So we're going to be looking at room 13 right now, and I guess it would be both polite and in keeping with hazing that we should turn the floor to Sarah first. So, Sarah, do you want to give us any impressions or any thoughts about this room?
Oh my goodness.
Why don't we,
No, it's okay.
why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got to how you became acquainted with the maze and how you became acquainted with the website and just generally introduce yourself to us.
Okay, sure. So I became acquainted with Maze when I was a kid, and my sister and I looked at it a lot. It was probably around the time when it came out, and my mom got it for us. And then we lost the book, or something happened to the book. And years later, it was maybe about 10 years ago, my sister bought me a copy that she found in a secondhand bookstore. And I got really obsessed with it at that time. And my work was really slow at the time. And I just remember sitting in my office and I had this big piece of paper that I was trying to map out all the rooms and, make this huge. Anyway, so that was when I got back into it. And I found the Abyss when I don't even remember if I was Googling my name or if I was Googling Maze, but I found the Abyss and there was my name and I was being quoted on the front page because I'd written a blog post about it. So that was kind of funny. So anyway, then I started looking at this and I was so pleased to find other people so obsessed with maze and that I could talk to about it. I was just so happy and relieved to do that. So that's how I found it.
Well, fantastic. Well, why don't you not to put you on the spot or anything, but I'm kind of on a loss on this room. So why don't you tell us any initial thoughts about 13 that strike you?
Okay. Yeah, I find this room really frustrating because it feels like, it seems like there's really this clear scenario going on where there's the director's chair and there's the sundial and, there's all these things that seem very, very significant and very deliberately placed, and then there's the very obvious missing second. I can't even remember if that's been explained yet or not. And there's so many things that you feel like should come together in this big revelation. But for me, it hasn't happened. Like, I feel like I have ideas about, little individual pieces of it. And I have one idea, which I can explain now or later, whatever. But I don't know. I feel like there's a big revelation that has yet to come and I have not had it. I mean, it looks like a movie set and you feel like there should be something there, but.
Oh, do explain. You explain your theory.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I had a lot of thoughts and questions, but my one idea that I had was that so the placement of a sundial, the pointy end, the end that is pointing towards 25, that would be pointing, well, it wouldn't be pointing towards 25, but the end that is pointing towards the right side of the page, that would be the south, right? That would be south if it was a real sundial in the outside world. So that would be south. The other end would be north, and then you would have east pointing towards 18, and then west pointing towards, the viewer, the person looking at the book. Okay, so where is 25 the correct room? It's sort of southeast or even maybe southeast. And then you look at the text, and this is, I don't know, but so he's chosen the word possessed, right? Which is kind of an unusual word to use there. And has two instances of southeast in that word. So I don't know. It's maybe stretching it a little bit.
SSE. I see what you mean. That's fun. Yeah, people have thought about that word possessed and how it does seem to be a little bit slightly more formal of a word choice than. I mean, the guy seems to be a pretty formal speaker, but it does seem a little unusual. But I've never heard that. That's really fun. What do you guys think?
I like it.
Move your mouth.
I don't think it's a real thing, but I think it's interesting. I think it's a fun thought. I like the directional thought. I obviously without taking the SSE from possessed, you don't get anywhere with it. But I think there might be something that we're not seeing further to indicate to do with the directions. And I don't even know how a sundial works. So I haven't even known that was south and the other end was north. Is that how it works?
Really?
Yeah.
I like your process, though. I like the fact that you saw the sundial something other than just being a sundial, like figuring out directional, because that might be
Yeah, I don't think every insight needs to be tied into a solution immediately to be valuable. There's this instinct that, well, I've seen this interesting thing and now let me tie it into a solution right away. There could be another half of this that we don't find, for weeks or months or whatever. But I think thinking about directions there is probably a pretty reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I got super excited because then I thought, oh, North by Northwest, and that's the movie, and it's Hitchcock, and that kind of fits. And of course, it's not North by Northwest; it would be North by Northeast. So it's not that.
All right, what are we going to do now for the rest of this room? We didn't really assign anyone to present. We just want to start naming stuff.
I do have one more thing.
Oh, there we go.
Please. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, is the sound cutting out, or is it just me?
I didn't hear anything from you for the past few minutes. I don't know if you were talking the last few seconds.
Are we working?
Okay, is it working?
Yes, I can hear everybody.
Okay, so my other thing was, I don't know, I pointed out on the Abyss that above the center line of the sundial, there's 2 sections or 2 lines, which Vince pointed out it's also 2 lines. And then below the center line, there's 5 segments or 5 lines. And that gets you 25, which White Reba did not react to. But anyway, it seems like something. And the other thing was, so I was looking at a lot of sundials, of images of sundials online. And it seems like it's pretty unusual to just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines below that center line. Normally you would have 6 or even 7. So it's a little strange. And then you have those dashed lines making up those sundial lines. And that seems unusual too. That's not something that I really saw when I was looking at a bunch of images of sundials. So that was noteworthy. I thought that it might mean something. And the only other thing I wanted to mention was that to me, this sundial looks like the fin of Jaws going through water. That's what I think of because of the movie, the whole movie scenario. I think of Jaws, and then I think of Finn, and then I think of 5 for Finn. But anyway, that's it for now.
I think the 2 lines and the 5 lines, or the 2 segments and the 5 segments, that seems pretty solid to me. Like, it's not like a great all-encompassing room puzzle. Oh, look, yeah. Alex has it up on the board there.
Oh,
Right.
shit. Hold on a second. There it is.
Things
You guys see it?
that we've seen in other rooms and been pretty accepting of that are much worse. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I as I say, I don't know anything about sundials, but I don't think there's any reason for there to be 5 lines only on the one half of that sundial and then only 2 lines on the other. Although presumably there could be more lines that we don't see behind the gnomon or whatever that thing's called in the middle. I mean, it's a 2 and a 5, and where there shouldn't be a 2 and a 5. That seems pretty good to me.
Thank
I
you.
don't think anybody's mentioned that before.
Yeah, I think that if there were a full, if all of the lines that were beyond the gnomon were present, I would feel like you ought to be able to see more of them, like in the upper right corner of that sundial. You should be able to see at least one more line poking up to mirror the ones down below, and so it really almost does seem like he intentionally only drew those 2 lines. So I like that too.
I'll use that as a segue about another design element in the room, because what we've got here with these clothes are not. It's more like the XIII in room 27, where there's like a Roman numeral 13 hidden in there. It's not something that really makes use of all the different symbols or things in the room, but just design elements that kind of reflect what the correct door number is. Kind of like Beal's favorite solution, the strength on the couch in room 34.
Yeah.
But there's a pretty good one in this room, or at least I think it was well spotted and probably correct by Kon-Tiki, and that's the pyramids and the balls in the room. You know, this room weird structures with these pyramids with one ball on top and four balls on the bottom, and he pointed out that could be representative of 1/4, which in other words would be 25%, which, you know, gives you your 25, which I think makes a lot of sense. And actually, there's a lot of other stuff in the room, and I can't remember whether I tried to sell this on the Abyss or not. There's some other stuff in the room that I thought kind of looked quartered. I don't know how well this is going to be visible on the image I've got on the screen there. Well, this doesn't even have to be visible. We've got 6 o'clock on the clock, or, you know, 6 o'clock, 18 o'clock, whatever. But that would be either 1/4 of a day, or you've got 1/4 of the day remaining at either 6 in the morning or 6 at night. The bullhorn that's on the chair there, the arm of the chair that's in front of the mouth of it kind of carves out about 1/4 of the circle there. Now, if you have to take the spot that's inside the handle of the chair, not including the handle of the chair, because do you see what I'm talking about?
You have to look at the you have to look at it perpendicular, and it would be 1/4.
It looks like it's a lot more than 1/4 just because the arm of the chair is so thick. But if you actually sort of cover up the arm of the chair, it's about 1/4 of that circle that's carved out by the arm of that chair there. And then the signs on 27 and 25, for some odd reason, the very corner of them is sticking out of the frame so that only 3 of the 4 nails or bolts or whatever it is can be seen. And this is probably not going to be visible on this screen image because you have to look pretty close. But of the skeleton's 4 eyes there, 2 eyes on the 2 skeletons, but one of their eyes is like blinking. It's the leftmost eye on the left skeleton. It's if you look at it, it's notably compressed. It looks like
I don't believe that.
shut your fucking mouth. It is fucking blinking. Look at it. God damn. It'd be such a chore.
You didn't go anywhere with the nails. I don't know where you were going with the nails.
Oh, just that there were only 3 or 4 showing. There's a 1/4 missing.
How does that get us to? Oh, okay. All right.
I'm just pointing out 25% things in the room.
Oh, you know what else too is a lot of those like the cone things with the round things on top. The only 3 of the pedestals that they're standing on are showing. You want to take it that far?
At most, often
With the director's chair, only 3 of the 4 legs of the director's chair showing, and there's only 3 legs.
I think you can kind of. It's hard to tell whether you can see the 4th leg on there or not in the shadow underneath there, but yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Well, there are only 3 clearly visible ones.
Yeah, that's true. I think with the balls, probably not, because we have to assume that there are 4 there to make the 1/4 work. Right. So then to further say 3 or 4 seems to undermine that. No. But in any case, whether you buy into the other crap or not, I think the pyramid sculptures are pretty good as a 25% suggestion.
Yeah, I think that's a good interpretation of what seemed like a really, really abstract element of design. And I like that solution a lot more than the other solution that's currently confirmed on the Abyss, which is down there with the stripes on the couch in terms of my ranking of solutions. I mean, I think the other one is just really atrocious. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Oh, absolutely. The other solution, it takes...
Can I describe it? Can I walk us through this one?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so the middle paragraph of the text reads, "They were worried it might be Friday." Well, it's true that it was closer to the end of the week than they realized. Now, apparently, that's supposed to somehow give us 7, because if it's closer to the end of the week than they realized, then apparently it must be Saturday, because Saturday is at the very end of the week. But I don't understand how you can conjure that at all. It's one of the most phantasmal conjurings of a number out of text that I've seen confirmed as a solution. Because first of all, you have to be working with the assumption that we're going to be ranking Sunday as the beginning of the week, which maybe was more ubiquitous at that time. I'm not sure, but still seems like it's really a matter of personal taste. And then to say, well, it's true that it was closer to the end of the week than they realized. Why does that mean that we go right to Saturday and then from there to 7? It really just doesn't make any sense to me at all. And then you're supposed to combine that with the clock. We've all thought that we've all seen the clock thought it was 6 in the evening. We've all read that, even as Vince already mentioned, as you can take that as military time. You can get 18 o'clock. And so we've all noticed that connection between that line. The clock thought it was 6 in the evening and 18. I thought that was fine by itself, as like the clock thought it was this, wrong. Therefore, don't go through door 18. But apparently, according to the confirmed solution, you're supposed to take that 18, you're supposed to add it to the 7 that you got from Saturday, closer to the end of the week, and that gives you 25. And it's just hogwash. It's dreadful. Eat it. Doesn't make me quite as angry as the striped couch, but I can't stand this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. And it's one of those things where the solution says there's another part to the solution. And in fact, White Raven kind of yeah, this sounds bad, but there's another part that makes the sound, or there like some confirming aspects of that. But it's hard to imagine what they could be, because they got to confirm not only the addition of those two numbers, but like you said, there needs to be something confirming the conjuration of 7 out of that in the first place.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't even say they thought it was Friday, but it was even closer to the end of the week than they thought. Like if it said that, I think you could maybe say, okay, if it's closer to the end Friday, then we'll say it's Saturday. But it doesn't even say that. It said they were worried it might be Friday, and then it says it was closer to the end of the week than they. I mean,
this is probably Thursday. I mean,
yeah.
They could have originally gone into the maze thinking it was Tuesday, and okay, well, maybe it's actually Thursday. And yeah, I don't see that. I agree with you that the exact wording there doesn't get me to Saturday in a very rock solid fashion.
And so far, we've got absolutely no reason why we should be adding those numbers together.
No, which I know you were right about what White Raven said, that he suggested that there's more to this one, but he has also said elsewhere, if I recall right, that there aren't very many solutions that just involve arbitrarily adding things together. As much as we love shooting for those, is this easy? He says that there really aren't very many of them unless there's somehow explicit cue. So unless there's some explicit cue for addition, and that's part that we're missing, this just seems really, really arbitrary.
Yeah, and the wordplay that we've all done, or a lot of people have done, I'm as guilty as anyone, we've just tried to stretch every stupid word in this page to like try to excuse that. Like it says only some of you, so it's like some of you. Try to come up with any kind of an excuse to come up with this answer, but I don't think we haven't hit on one yet. And really, it is kind of similar to Room 34 in a sense, in that we've got a solution that seems to make no sense on its face, adding those numbers together, but those solutions separately also seem to better clue to another door, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when it says 6 o'clock in the evening, and you think, oh, that means 18 o'clock in military time, so that gives you door 18. When he talks about
I was going to mention that, because both clues on each side of the door are both red herrings. You've got minute, and the missing word is second. Second door, and then you've got which also points to the second door. So I don't know. In my opinion, they're both red herrings to be disregarded.
Yeah, I'm actually content to, for the reason I stated, I'm content to take the clock thought it was 6 in the evening as a red herring clue against 18, because if the clock thought it was 6 in the evening, the implication is the clock was wrong. So I feel pretty solid about that. You're right about second, and we haven't talked very much about all the alternate interpretations of second that everybody has tried to come up with. But yeah, it does seem pretty obvious to take the second door. I have seen people try to excuse reading the second as taking the second door because they first perform some trick to eliminate 27 or 18, and then 25 becomes the second door, which is just that's some real magic.
What's interesting though is the other place in the maze where one of those egg timers appears is in 29, where you have to turn the page upside down. I always thought there was something interesting here regarding if you look at this page upside down, is there anything fishy that you can find out? I didn't find anything out. I don't think there is, but I just thought I'd mention that.
No, I don't know.
Like,
what I was trying to get at, the other side of that clue about it being closer to seems to point to 18, because at the end of the word week on the sign, that's where the door to 18 is. So
Oh, it was close. Oh, I haven't seen that one before. That's cool. Yeah.
but both of those you have to instead do some arbitrary math with. But I hate to be too critical of it when we don't. Apparently, there's some other thing out there that's going to tell us, but you just never know. We don't know whether it's completely ridiculous or not. It just seems ridiculous at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that anything really good has been suggested for any of the other elements of the room. Anything you've been talking about. It is the two notable things about the sign is, as we mentioned, it's missing the word second. It's got these descending periods of time from millennium down to minute. And it's not just that it doesn't go below that. There's a space below that where a word could go, and the natural word to go below that would be second, but it's missing.
It seems like a trick that's very reminiscent of the Fortunato room. Which one is that? Where
39.
you have multiplication 39, right? Where you have that multiplication table that clearly has enough space at the bottom for the full row, and it seems as though you're being invited to think about that and supply that.
are you guys familiar with Mind Trap? I know Vince is. Anyway, so there's a riddle there. I won't go into what the actual riddle is, but it's wordplay on clocks. How the third hand is actually the second hand because it measures the seconds. So maybe there's some kind of interplay between the two signs, like second is indicating the second hand on the clock rather than the third hand or the first hand. I don't know, maybe. Or maybe what Sarah said about how it's pointing north and the second hand is pointing north. Or the second, like the literal second hand. I don't know, whatever. I'm just talking shit now.
It indicates the second skeleton whose butt is pointing towards the 25th door. Man, we always whip out the great solves when it comes down to game time.
Okay, should I read the text?
The only other thing I think we should probably mention is the missing N in the word millennium.
Oh yeah.
Really questionable whether that's intentional or just the spelling.
Yeah, it almost looks like that I is kind of squashed in there too. Like it really was a spelling error, and you just kind of had to fix it.
Yeah, that I is kind of squeezing in there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not the same size as the other letters. Like look at the other I.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
to me, it almost does seem like that really is a mistake.
No.
But who knows?
Someone point the second N that's missing.
Oh goodness.
Second N. Ooh.
Hmm.
Another thing that I saw mentioned recently was the idea that the light seems to be bearing directly down from overhead, and we should interpret it as actually being midday.
Yeah.
People have pointed out, no, we're not all superstitious. People have gotten the word noon out of no, and then apparently there's some more numbers magic where you're supposed to add 12 to 13, and that gives you 25. So I'm not so sure.
13.
What is that?
It's because we're in room 13. So I'm at 13. You want?
Well, I think the justification, such as it is, has been that you get the room number 13 in the text, which, by the way, we'll talk about that when Alex reads the text. So you have 13, and then you have no mentioned afterwards. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I think that's the idea. But yeah, Alex, you want to read the text?
Room number 13. They weren't really comfortable here, and I knew why. No, they said. We're not all superstitious. Only some of you, then? Nothing?
Vince?
You went a little robot-y on me. Did anyone else hear him clearly?
I've actually been getting a lot of problems hearing here and there. So it may be my connection. I don't know.
But yeah, let's stop and hold on. As Andrew was mentioning, first notable thing is just that this room is referred to by number, which is relatively unusual in the maze. Don't know whether it really means anything. Maybe it's just trying to emphasize that this is door number or room 13 because of all the bad luck suggestions that follow.
But then that would have been easy enough to figure out on its own.
Yeah.
Room number 15, room number 20, room number 30. You have to wonder if there's some kind of pattern. Well, probably have a 13, 15, 20, 30.
I mean, maybe it's just not a room that he could describe easily in a short phrase. I mean, it could be as simple as that, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Then with the room 42. Yeah.
Out of phrases that mean a strange room with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
No, I think he's definitely emphasizing the superstitious element because of the whole Friday thing, and Friday the 13th at that.
All right.
They were worried it might be Friday. Well, it's true that it was closer to the end of the week than they realized. It takes a great deal of experience, certainly more than they possessed, to understand how time works in the maze.
It's not gentile, right?
Teal, motherfucker.
Yeah, of all the rooms for Gentile not to be here for, I'm sorry that he couldn't make it to 15.
At this point, or to Dave, and he could talk for several hours about maze time.
I think he gave up on that theory.
Oh, no way, man. He doesn't talk about it all the time, but he has not abandoned maze time.
He hasn't abandoned his Raven guide theory. He's actually multiplied it.
Because it's now a red herring. It's now deliberately there as a red herring path. Is that right? I think that's the new.
What I heard.
He was saying that the Raven was the soul of Manson, and Manson is the guy, so it makes sense that way.
Okay.
Manson's not the guy, of course, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, the White Raven and guide theory is kind of like Obi-Wan Kenobi. You can strike it down and it'll just come back. More powerful than you can possibly imagine.
You want to finish up, Alex?
The clock thought it was 6 p.m. We've already talked about that. 18 o'clock. Red herring, basically. Quickly moving on, we came to. Hey,
Yeah, it seems like a red
talked
herring.
about that too much.
Oh, yeah.
That quickly moving on thing, the only thing I could think of with that, if that's supposed to be if we are supposed to get the idea from the director's chair and the light there of like lights, camera, action, and the idea is like that's the action part, quickly moving on, but I don't know the lights, camera, action has ever really. I mean, that's a suggestion Gent Dave had. That was not terrible. I mean, at least it seems interesting. We've got the director's chair, we've got lights, whatever here. We don't have the camera, but then when you go to the correct room, it does have like a film strip.
Oh, right. Yeah. Talk about that some more. That's really cool. I never noticed that until a couple of days ago. That's a really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know more to say about it, but it does seem to complete the idea of lights, camera, action, albeit in the wrong order because you have to get here to get the camera idea. But it does seem to be like a fairly plausible room connection between the two, you know?
Well,
That's a good.
Some of those might be red herring connections, but I really like it. I'd always thought of it as a strip of comic panels, but I really like the film reel idea in 25. Cool.
You know, this is weird too. You're hard pressed to find the letter Q in maze as well. So quickly is really the only. Usually you see objects being repeated like toy ducks and stuff, but I think in this case, quickly or quick. I think the other place quick appears with a hurricane in 34. I just thought that would be interesting to mention because very rare that he uses Qs in the maze. I've been looking over the past couple of years. I haven't seen many Qs in the maze. The second place it appears, or even the word quick. Either way.
There is some stuff on the abyss about the letter Y, and for whatever this is worth, apparently this is not whatever, but Y being number 25, and he says, and I knew Y.
Yeah.
And then later he says only some of you then, and then some of you, like the first letter of you is Y. So some of you is again
Why? That's cool.
And then there's one more where it's closer to the end of the week. And if you look at that list, there's that Y right beside the end of week. So there's actually 3 instances where the letter Y is kind of indicated. This is not my thinking. This is on the Abyss.
That's interesting. Yeah, I had seen the I knew why on the Abyss, but I had never seen any of that other stuff. Thanks for mentioning it. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Thale Kreider actually had a not too terrible one here. I think it was Thale Kreider's. No, I take it back. It is terrible, but it was a good response to the terrible solution that was accepted about being closer to the end of the week, meaning that you take 7 and add it to 18. And what she did was take the digits and the numbers and sum them together and got 2 plus 5 is 7. Whereas, in 27, 2 plus 7 is 9, 18, 1 plus 8 is 9. But in 25, 2 plus 5 is 7. I'm not well, he's Thale Kreider, so he probably was suggesting it seriously. I don't think, like I said, I think it's a bad suggestion, but I think it's a good example of why the other thing is a bad solution.
I don't understand. Are we just isolating the odd one in and having 25 be the odd one in because it adds to 7? Or are we adding together and then
stuff?
I'm sorry?
It's taking it's getting the number 7 from the end of the week stuff, but instead of adding that to 18, just directly getting the number 7 from 25 by adding the digits.
Oh, and then you just add it to the 9 and the 9. And, that's...
Well, no, you don't. Well, I guess I didn't even think about that.
Why not? It's more consistent, isn't it?
Well, but I think the suggestion was just that because the text is suggesting the number 7 and the digits there add to 7. But you're right. You add all the digits.
Yeah. Why bother getting 18 from a different source then? It's more consistent if you just take 9 and 9 and...
That's interesting. Has that ever been mentioned before? If you add all the digits, you get 25?
I'm going to put it on there. I'm going to throw it right on there.
Good. I like that.
Oh, Maze Master, Clue Master. That's another one.
I mean, again, there's zero reason to just go adding all the digits, but whatever. You can just say, hey, there's the word sum in the text.
Yeah, that has been.
I mean, it's better than adding 7 and 18 at this point.
No, you know what? If you're going to add anything in anywhere in Maze, it should be this room because of the whole connotation with the numbers.
Yeah.
I think this is a good room to add numbers, if any of them.
Why do you say that?
Well, because it's all about numbers. It's all about time and and numbers, and so I think like, okay, you're not gonna do this in room 41, are you? You're not gonna do this in room 21. Like, I'm just picking rooms that are associated with room 1 because they're basic. But this one, you're starting like. You're going to come in here and you're going to start trying to add numbers and calculate stuff like, oh, how many seconds are in a minute, how many minutes, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just think it's a more number room than others.
Sure.
I thought of another one just now. Okay, so relating to my idea of that thing being a fin, or it could just be a V on its side, which is also a 5, right? So those are 2 ways of getting 5 from the gnomon or whatever it is. But then you have the director's chair with the X on the front, but presumably there's also an X on the back. So there you have your clue.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I like that. I'm a sucker for those, so yes. I'm a sucker for the Roman numerals. I like that. You should post that on.
Yeah, should I try that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'll try it. I'll try it after.
Yeah, I did actually, as long as we're just throwing out quick and dirty little solutions, I did think of something else that I don't know. Has this been mentioned on the Abyss? You guys can check me on this one. I was recalling room 17, the one with the M40. And I don't remember how you guys feel about it, but the fact that it's been posted on the Abyss that you can like follow the curvature of the M40 and point yourself to 45. Well, you can sort of do that in this room in 13. if you start from the lamp points down to the gnomon. The gnomon doesn't quite point at the megaphone, but it hits the line coming out of the megaphone. The megaphone points up to the pendulum, and the pendulum is on the side that's closer to 25, so it points you down to 25. Like if you drew the straight lines coming out of each of those four objects, you could follow those four straight lines to 25, which seems not much worse than the 17 solution, and in the same vein.
Yeah, it's kind of like the string of pointers in room 10 too.
Maybe that's what I would really do. Oh, what's the string of pointers?
Like from the dancer's baton in the picture to the box to either the bed or the umbrella up to the baton. That's actually the real baton pointing at the door.
Oh, got it. Yeah. So I kind of like those. I don't dislike those string of pointer solutions, and I think that this one is not too terrible. It'd be cooler if the gnomon were pointing directly at the megaphone when it clearly isn't, but its line meets the megaphone's line, so I feel like that's not too much of a leap.
Yeah, no, it's actually pointing right at the word where the word second ought to be.
Yeah, it's pointing at the on this.
Yeah, essentially. One thing I thought about the lamp is that it kind of looks like a bell. And just the fact that it's not on, right? So it's got a switch and everything, but it's not on. So it could even be a bell. Or maybe that's just the way Manson draws things like that. So I don't know. I didn't go anywhere with it, but.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Really balanced, and it certainly seems to kind of be a visual echo of the megaphone too. I mean, they're vaguely both conical in shape, but then they're also tilted. It looks like the same angle to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing too is there's no two-legged object in here. The sundial has one leg. The light has three, and the chair has four.
That's fun. What do you make of that? Anything?
I think it's another red herring to the second door because it's like, ooh, there's nothing with two legs there. Let's go to the second door.
Oh.
What?
Well, maybe it's supposed to tie together with the fact that the word second is absent, and maybe that all ties together as part of something bigger.
What, Vince, you don't agree? You don't think it's happy?
I wouldn't call something a red herring that's so complicated to see, but no, I don't think it would be a suggestion of the second door anyway. So it leaves out 2, but then it also stops short of 5. 2 and 5. But I don't know. It is interesting that although two-legged objects would be kind of strange anyway, like there's not two-legged furniture or anything because it would fall over.
Yeah.
But it could have been something leaning against a wall, right? It could have been I don't know,
Like the skeletons that have 2 legs.
like canvas, or I don't know, like a.
Well, those benches, a lot of the benches that you see in mazes have 2 legs. They're just long. They're just wide legs.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true. The room 2 bench has.
I mean, okay, let me put it this way. He could have made the sign that says all the millennium century, blah blah. He could have made that like on 2 legs leaning against a wall.
Yeah.
And the fact that it didn't prove 25 is correct.
No.
Yeah, Alex, I don't know if I agree that he could have possibly thought that anybody would take that as an indicator to 18, but I feel like there could maybe be something, maybe instead of this being a negative red herring clue, there could be some positive cluing going on here with the fact second is missing and the fact that there's nothing with 2 feet. Like, you could do something with that, but I don't think it would have been meant as a red herring. No, I don't
Yeah,
think supposed to say, there's nothing with 2 feet. Let's go to the second door. That seems.
yeah, no, you're right. Well, it's a little much. It was just a suggestion. Because I just
Boy, now we're just getting down to talking. But the sun lamp, it's interesting. It's not on, and when I think about it, there's a few different electrical things in the maze, but I don't think any. I guess there's just another lamp in 7, and that's not shown as being on. And there's a plug in 14, but we don't know what it connects to. Oh, I guess
The light bulbs. There's a couple light bulbs.
that's true. That's true. And there's the phone in 20, which presumably is connected to some kind of power source since it was ringing.
There's a buzzer in the cage room.
Yeah, with a power cord. There's a power cord on the telephone.
I was thinking about the shape of the sundial and the shadow, and they kind of, I mean, I think you pointed out, Vincent, it looks like an 8, or it could also even look like a spool or a reel to put film on, or thread or something.
Film.
I mean, not really, but
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what photo?
The sundial and then the circular shadow beneath the sundial.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
I just feel like I read something on the Abyss. I think it was in White Raven's guidebook that was on there, where he said there's some great fancy explanation for this room that has to do with the director's chair. Very frustrating.
He did say that somewhere on his site, that the director's chair and the bullhorn are part of a larger room level solution.
I'm sorry, did you just call it a bullhorn?
Yeah.
That's the term for it, is a bullhorn?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, the Minotaur's identity is confirmed then.
Yeah, if you're Bogart.
Done.
Good, all right, we got it. Yeah.
How many
It's
times?
not a megaphone technically because it doesn't have an amplifier.
Wait, what?
Well, because Beals called it a megaphone.
Yeah, is that well, it doesn't have a handle. Yeah,
But no, megaphones are electrical.
Oh,
oh,
I
yeah.
don't think they have to be. I'd look
Okay.
to. I think
This could be a megaphone or a bullhorn.
because they've been around for a long time, so they weren't always electric.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm seeing some that just have little primitive, little tiny, suitcase-like handles. And
Okay, so that begs the question: does it matter what you call that object?
yeah, it's such a common question, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, I'm seeing bullhorns that look the same as megaphones look like. I'm seeing electric and non-electric varieties of both.
Well, bullhorn would help Vince's chase of the Minotaur
Exactly.
stuff there.
Please, only Vincent's chase. We all wanted to be there.
Vince is Theseus hunting him down.
so if we think of the sundial in terms of directions, and then we got the director's chair and stuff, which is suggestive of direction. If we took the direction pointed by the bullhorn, but applied it to the sundial, does that point us the right way?
I'm sorry, what do you mean by apply it to the sundial?
Like, go the direction pointed by the bullhorn, but from the sundial. It still doesn't really line up that well.
No, not really.
I think I mentioned this.
so. Okay.
Like, in order to get this whole scene started, you would first have to switch the light on, like lights, camera, action, and you can clearly see the switch on the back of the light there, which is sort of pointing towards 25.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a good one because you got to switch the lights on before you do camera action, and the first move is closes to 25.
And getting the film in the next room.
As far as any directionality solutions go, I would really like it if they culminated with the fact that the pendulum is pointing toward 25, because that clearly couldn't have been accidental. Of any of the things pointing at 25, you would have made the decision to have it be in that orientation instead of any other orientation. I feel like that's got to be what.
That actually puts a completely different twist on the second solution thing, where if you look at minute and then second is not said, what is happening this second? Well, the pendulum is in that wing, You know what I mean? Like this second, that's what's happening.
So when's this happening? Oh, that's interesting.
I think Vince and I were debating whether pendulum swings are exactly 1 second each. I think the conclusion was no, they're not. It depends what kind of clock we're talking about.
Yeah, it depends on the length of the pendulum. This wouldn't be a second pendulum because it's too short, but
Well, it would also depend on how it was weighted, wouldn't it?
not from what I've read, no. It's
What?
just the length,
Huh.
which actually is, I think that's probably makes sense. But man, I just really want to tie together director's chair, direction.
Right? Yeah, you definitely want that. That could very well be what ties this whole thing.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Someone else is gonna have to pull the plug on this episode because I'm just staring at the page thinking, and I can't tear myself away.
Any closing thoughts, Sarah?
No, I would like to say thank you for including me. I have enjoyed it, and it's been great to meet you all. I will come again if you invite me.
Please, by all means.
You certainly have a standing invitation.
Thank
We will include you in all planning of future Macecasts. I got nothing else.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. If anybody made it all the way through, and we will see you next time.
Bon voyage.